are beginning to start their hot laps. I believe it's actually Tack will be the first to go. Yeah, Tack is rounding the bus stop chicane at the moment as he comes to the first turn, which is La Source. It's a very tricky turn to get right. He takes a bit of curve, doesn't get it on the power as soon as possible, and he has a little slip on throttle as he comes through now Eau Rouge and Abradillon down the Camel Straight. He's shifted into 8th midway through Eau Rouge, and coming on the Camel Straight now, he's going to deploy DRS, and he's actually going to give a fairly significant tow to Dees, I believe, who's, just right behind him as they break into Les Combes, and I think that was a pretty early braking from Dees. He definitely could have gotten that a lot further out, as you see Tack locks up a bit actually, but he does come to the right side of the track on the exit of Les Combes, so maybe he had a bit of slip on oversteer again, and that might have been an invalidation for him. We have to go check that. No, it wasn't an invalidation, but he definitely slipped over the line, as we see a mountain of other people on their hot laps. And we come back to D's now. Yep, they're going through, I believe this is, yeah. Oh boy. Into Stablo now, and I would say my money is on D's right now to have a better lap than Tack, simply because he did pick up the stream, but it'll be interesting to know. Yeah, so D's shifts into 8th gear, and I believe if you follow Tack also shifts into 8th, but that's a lot later. You'll notice some of the other drivers who followed today, specifically after Blanchemont, the really gentle turn you see there before the bus stop chicane, you'll find a lot of drivers are actually not shifting into 8th and keeping it in 7th as, Tack sets a 44.4 for the first lap and provisional pole of the session, and D's is just under a second behind, and that is something. And Zeke comes in on the mediums, an additional second in a bit. I don't exactly think the mediums will work out for too many people. You have to be particularly quick, and you can see most of the top runners are going for softs. Rogue comes across the line before Ruda, but even with without the power of slipstream from his teammate, he sets a 43.7, immediately knocking Tack to 3rd position, and Ruda comes in 2nd with a 44.2. I was going to say that Tack can probably be pretty proud of that time. I imagine that's going to be quite similar to where he's aiming for in maybe the top 6. As Gore now sets a 44 flat, 3/10 off of Rogue, and I do say my prediction so far is that Rogue is going to be fairly unbeatable here. We've done a lot of practicing, and it seems like Gore's just been on the back foot for preparation here, and I think Rogue is starting to look to claw back some of those early point losses he had to Gore through no fault of his own. As we follow now Righteous just before he crosses the line. Oh no, and actually heads into the pits. He must have invalidated his lap and just come in for a new set instead. I believe that will be Niall Dunkemmel, also an 8th.
Jordan, in the middle of his hot lap, for some reason his engine is constantly at the highest rev it could possibly be.
That is a sound glitch. As we get our first bout of medium laps going in, a 45.5 from Niall, which is two and a bit seconds off of, or just under 2 seconds off of the pole position. He's definitely going to want to switch to softs, and Kriegs setting a slower time than the medium runners on softs. He's going to want to switch. Of course, Kriegs has experience racing on Spa recently, but he apparently did not put in any practice into the F1 game. Purely relying on his ACC knowledge here, which, by the way, we do run an ACC league if anyone is interested. So it looks like Pfeiffer is just starting a hot lap after his invalidation. Oh, and this is Borat, also in 8th gear down the back straight, coming in, braking for, and he's already out of battery actually before he gets to the bus stop. Takes it fairly tight, but doesn't power on until later in the exit. That is the danger of having a tight line through that corner, as he sets 7th fastest lap with a 45 flat. Just a full second under P2 actually. As I believe that was Of the Hood also sets that time. And it looks like the Red Bulls are going to be crossing the line. Sahil probably been team ordered by Cubile to give him a slipstream. Cubile actually going for a rather unconventional strategy from him. Usually we see him just set in times on the fastest tire just to, you know, get as front as possible, because he really relied on track position, hoping for safety cars to keep his track position. But yeah, he usually doesn't go for the hard strategy, but here he's going on the mediums. And yeah, coming down Kemmel, he's definitely getting a bit of slipstream from his teammate, but I think his teammate has pulled up away a bit, so that looks like Sahil might get the better lap of the two of them. Actually, I'm just gonna ride on board for Cubile for the rest of the lap as we come through Bruxelles. That is turn 10. Now, yeah, he brakes a bit and powers down about mid-turn. You can definitely take that line a bit harsher. Maybe not on medium tires. Of course, the softs are a lot more sticky as he comes into Fouon now. And yeah, it looks like Sahil is really getting the beat on him. Just inching ahead, really, just in terms of pure distance ahead. And yeah, it looks like Cubile, you'd expect somebody in Sector 2, especially if they've deployed the hot lap on these straights, to be saving, but it looks like, yeah, he's even going for overtake on the back straight. He's definitely going to run out of charge before the bus stop chicane, which is really an inefficient way to do it. You could absolutely recover energy with minimal time loss on this track, especially, you know, through campus and Fouon. But so be it. Yeah, he's out of energy deployment before the line. Sahil crosses, sets himself P. Oh, Cubile does go fast. Cubile goes 0.2 faster than his teammate, 9th position, and Sahil was in 11th. As Chipsy now sets a faster time than him, but on the time right between them. He split the Red Bulls. It looks like Tack has now just started his hot lap. As has Righteous fires now into Fouon, starting Sector 2. Oh, but he goes wide, and will that be an invalidation? No, but that certainly wasn't the quickest way to take that turn. And he'll be looking to claw back some of that time quite quickly, but it does look like he's not able to get really good control of his car in the braking zones. I wonder if he's, yeah, oh, that's it. He's definitely picked up a lot of damage on his front left. He's gonna have to duck in, get that repaired, and come on out. And he still doesn't have a banker time, so that's gonna be especially damaging to him. As Ruda now going for a, wow, that is a big toe from the McLaren team through Kemmel now into Lake Holmes, and I think, yeah, Rogue is nowhere to be seen. Ruda's just blasted past him. I would not be surprised if these were purple sectors, considering the DRS and toe there. I don't even think, I think at one point I saw Ruda in third, or in mode 3 for ERS, and he definitely was trying to save for later in the lap. Yeah, slowing down for Fouon. Doesn't take as much track usage as he can, but it's usually good to avoid those curves anyway. They have a tendency to spin you out, unfortunately. Oh, and Ruda slides just a bit on the exit of campus, turn 14 there, but he is able to save it with some very diligent throttle control there. Absolutely wonderful from him, and he's going to keep it in 7th. No, he actually does shift up into 8th. So I guess in qualifying you definitely want to shift it up into 8th, but I believe in the race we're going to see a lot more people stay in 7th instead, as he comes braking now for bus stop. Oh, did he just throw the lap there? Oh wow, he got really out of shape. That was a huge slide from him. As he he sets a 144 flat to the 1,000th of a second. Fantastic. That is 500th faster, or sorry, yeah, 500ths faster than Gore. Gore is going to look to take that time back as he comes down the Kemmel Straight in mode 4. Doesn't have the DRS of a teammate. Unfortunately, Righteous did remove his wing. Maybe that was a plan, because Righteous, had he not pit, might have been far enough ahead to really provide a good slipstream for Gore. But of course, he did pit, so now he's, you know, about 20 seconds behind, given, you know, how much time it took him to get in, change everything for his wing, as Gore comes through Bruxelles, turn 10, turn 11 now. Doesn't go wide. That is one place that's easy to invalidate your lap on. As he, oh yeah, brakes, and he gets, you can see he's getting a lot closer to the curb edges than Rudo was. He's really, really risking it there, but, you know, you do risk it for time as he comes across. Now, the clouds seem to have blocked the sun, but I don't think that's going to affect much here for track temperature. I think it's just fairly understood that the further you go into a qualifying, the better the tires are, the better shape the track is to give you speed. Now, as we come into Blanchemont, there are 5 minutes left in this qualifying session, so each of the McLarens and Gore, will have a chance to set faster laps on an even better track as Gore comes through bus stop. And oh, he just gets a bit hairy on exit, but wow, that is 2/10 faster than Rogue's time. You could definitely see a few places where he might have picked up a lot of time against the McLaren boys. As now Rogue, I believe, they're both the McLarens are coming in for their cooldown. Absolutely fantastic from them. This is going to be a really tight qualifying between them at least. And I think, yeah, Tack with a 44.05, really, that's going to be a pretty big gap to bridge for him to get down. 5/10. You could obviously find it with track evolution, but even, Figlin, I don't know if that was a pure banker time, just being very conservative or what, but he already looks like he's low on ERS charge here, and I'm not sure what time he's going to be able to set, because he is at 25%, he's not even in Lake Holmes. I don't know if he's just powering back to the pits or whatnot. But yeah, he's also saving fuel. I don't think this will be a repetitive time.
Looks like we have Van Beets with low fuel trying to pull his way into the pits, and it looks like he'll make it.
Yeah, it is. If you do go a full lap on low fuel mode, it is entirely possible that when you need to, brake just a bit for the pit lane line, you could stop entirely, not be able to start again, and then just get disqualified. We've seen it actually in this league before. I believe in season 2, somebody had tried to re-enter the pits on low fuel, had to brake to meet the speed limit, weren't able to accelerate back up, and got disqualified from qualifying, and they were sitting in the top 5, I think. So it's really unfortunate for them. Sorry, Sin, just gotta turn you down a bit. I had a complaint in chat.
My apologies.
That would be on me for poor mixing. Going to rejoin the game now. See that Zeke has gone through 3rd to get through turn 11 there in Bruxelles. As he comes into Fouan, you can see, yeah, he is... Ooh, on entry, oh no, I was gonna say he's really good for track usage at the moment, but he definitely rides over the 3rd curb there, coming out of turn 12. That's gonna really put a dent in his lap. He's probably gonna need to save and go for it again. As Niall is, oh sorry, that's best tire, not the fitted. Yeah, looks like Niall is gonna go for a soft run just at the very end here. As Gore, I believe, is Gore is the last of the top 4 to pit. I'm not sure what's happening with Tack here. Is he out of fuel? Or is he just letting, I think he might have just been letting that Ferrari of Righteous fire by. Righteous, I don't know if he invalidated. He's used a fair amount of his battery, and he's not apparently on an outlap, so he's definitely, probably scrubbed the lap and is saving for a new one.
Jordan getting all sorts of out of shape there in the 2nd sector.
Yeah, following along another car is really good on straights because it's essentially punching a hole in the air in front of you. You have less air resistance, so you can go faster. However, when you're following in corners, downforce is essential. Like drag is essential to a F1 car's cornering capabilities, and it looks like Jordan's actually saving. Not even, he is on an outlap. He's gonna have to space himself to Rogue, and Rogue, having given Ruda the slipstream earlier, is going to be following in Ruda's wake, just to, for that extra speed we were just talking about, as Of the Hood actually kind of stealthed in there with a 43.8, didn't see that, but that does split the McLarens, as Gore goes off to try to make it to the line in time, I believe. He's definitely cutting the circuit a lot. It'll wonder if he's going to use some of his battery charge down the straight just to get there. It shouldn't, yeah, he is, and it shouldn't really affect his overall displacement because it, you know, recharges the amount you're, it resets the amount you're allowed to use per lap. You just have to make sure your battery is full and not in the 10% derating range. As we can see, oh no, okay, Ruda is in front, but he's just not close enough to actually provide that useful of a slipstream, as we see both of the McLarens going through Lake Holmes now into Plixez. And that is, oh no, Gore did not get across the line in time. He is going to have to, he is absolutely going to have to just be content with that time, as Cubele actually set a, 3,000th off of Ruda in 5th position, with his teammate Sahil, or his reserve teammate, my teammate, Sahil in 8th position, as Rogue and Ruda now coming through the end of the 2nd sector to start the 3rd through Stavla.
Sahil in the middle of the road, heading towards Eau Rouge.
So he is, but that is his AI, so unfortunately there's not much that can be done there. Both of the McLarens are done, so yeah, it definitely is of the hood. Won't be able to actually complete a lap when he crosses the line. That's unfortunate for him, as Ruda is the first of the McLarens to get through. Still has all of his battery, or not all, but he still has battery charge left of the exit. Doesn't actually deplete at all. Goes 3rd fastest, beats out of the hood, as Rogue, no, Rogue had to back off. He must have invalidated, and that is Gore with provisional pole position, unless Tack can really pull a miracle out of his hat, but I don't think he really has the raw pace. I think Tack's just gonna be happy enough to be where he is, as he does bump down Cubele though, so that is Tack up into P5, and I think that might be his best qualifying of the year. Rogue going to cross the line. Not sure if he didn't run out of fuel. And yeah, that is him in 2nd position, Ruda in 3rd. So that is a McLaren second row. Sorry, not even a second row lockout. They're just McLaren 2-3 for qualifying. Of course, Rogue will be sharing the front row with Gore, Ruda with of the hood, and Tack and Cubele will form the 3rd row. Wow, that was actually a really interesting qualifying, and yeah, it doesn't look like anyone actually set times on the medium. That is probably for the best, honestly. In Spa, it really is a soft medium track. You can't realistically, like, the difference between softs and mediums is too great for you to actually put in a competitive time on mediums against competent racers. So, unless everyone went for it, which they didn't, you kind of had to go softs. Looks like all of the cars are on the grid, and now we wait for the formation lap to start. And you know what formation lap means. It means disqualifications from the formation lap. I don't think we've ever had a race where the formation lap went perfectly. Everyone seems to run into each other. Some people, as soon as the light goes off, they think it's their turn to go. You know, just a whole bundle of logistics problems, really. As it does. Oh, we're hoping. No, okay. Yeah, we still have 15 seconds before the lobby starts. Couldn't see the timer up there. And that, kind of good. Alright, everyone should be loaded in. This will be the formation lap. It's a single light, and it's out. Ooh, oh, what is happening there? Looks like Harry lent out his invisibility cloak to a few people, as Gore, I think, yeah, completely goes wide turn 1, cuts back onto the track, and starts moving for tire temps. Want to see, is anyone, it doesn't look like anyone's back at the track so far, so that's good. We cycle our way up through the field. Nobody's been disqualified yet. There'll be a prime time to get telemetry on, the details to be position change for now, interval, camera. Alright, we're good. Looks looks like a few of the cars are actually weaving. I mean, I can't really blame them. It is knowing coatings, it might entirely be like formation laps don't matter. They're just there for a sense of realism. I don't think your tire temps actually matter that much until the last corner or two, in which case you could just brake hard, wheel around for a bit, raise the temps, and then they get locked when you cross the line or whatever happens to them. But you don't need to build them throughout the lap, I don't think.
Give me a moment, let me see if I can get the weather report.
Oh yes, that would be useful, because a few of the drivers were expressing the fact that the past 2 times we've come to Spa for official races, it has been either wet or mixed, and they are looking forward to a chance to drive it on the dry conditions. Looks like Borat's getting a bit aggressive behind Jordan there. Jordan, who's actually, I think, Borat has absolutely jumped a couple of people. Just Gypsy, I guess.
Alright, from the pit wall, it's looking like it's going to be clear all race.
Clear all race. That is interesting. So it is, all the interestingness for the strategy will mostly come from safety cars, whether they come out or not. Of course, there are a lot of parts of Spa where the walls are maybe a bit tight to the circuit, just because of the fact that it is a quite old circuit. That will be interesting as the grid starts to reform here. And it actually does look like we have 2 disqualified people, Babu and Fig, I would assume. Yeah, Fig got pushed back to the grid like naughty boys. As we follow along, 5 lights are away, and we are racing in Belgium. Some wheel spin. Oh yeah, okay. Of the Hood goes for a move. Up the outside actually of turn 1. Gore defends his position, gets away well. Rogue and Ruda are now side by side. Hopefully one of them backs off, because I do not think they really want to be racing. And it looks like Rogue actually does fill in behind Ruda. I imagine the slipstream and the DRS later in laps, if they don't solve this out, will really cause a huge leapfrog here, as Of the Hood actually looks to be going for a move on Rogue, and it looks like Rogue's just squeezed him ever so slightly. Little contact between them, but they are away, and Ruda is actually pulling away a bit from his teammate.
Looks like Niall's gone off at Radion. He has a very damaged wing and is at the back of the pack.
And it looks like Kubele is up 1 position on Tack from the opening of the lap, and Sahil is up 2. So now Tack is in a Red Bull sandwich, and it is, them wanting to bully their old engine supplier, I would assume. It looks like the changes off the line, nobody got away particularly well. No multi, 2 is the highest position gained. Looks like Niall, definitely dropped, and Pfeiffer's up 2 positions, as is Zeke. And Figlin, not Figlin, Sahil. And it looks like, wow, a fairly significant gap is already forming at the front. Ruda is now 7/10 away from Gore. Gore's gonna try to get out of slipstream range, so plus over a second essentially. He's going to be trying to do that before lap 3 when DRS is enabled, because DRS is a absolutely huge advantage, as well as regular slipstream, just standing behind or driving behind another car on a straight as it punches the air in front of you is a huge time gain. And it looks like we actually had a fairly clean lap.
Oh, huge accident in the back of the pack. Pfeiffer and Zeke, I believe, careened into Pfeiffer.
Oh, and that is Pfeiffer resetting its track. Of course, that's allowed, and that was commentator's jinx, if I ever heard one. That was definitely me calling out that we had a fairly clean lap 1 so far, as Niall just gets out of the pits now.
Let me see if I can get a point of view of that. I'll be right back.
Sure. And, ooh, Rogue is actually ahead of Ruda again, and, ooh, looks like Gore had a bit of a moment. And of the Hood now looks like he's trailing 1.1 seconds behind both of the McLarens. And the intervals do look a bit incorrect. Hopefully, as they cross the next sector line, we'll sort that issue out. No, looks like their position change is not going away anytime soon. So can't actually tell what the distance between them is. That's unfortunate. It looks like Fig might be two minutes away from Jordan. Highly doubt that, although he is on the medium tire. And ooh, Niles actually pit to the hards immediately. So I think, yeah, everyone below the top. Go ahead.
All right, from the pit wall, it's looking like Fife has severe damage and is looking like he's going to retire. Z damage, but he's going to try to force his way into the pits and try to run on hards for as long as he can. But Pfeiffer will be pulling in and retiring the car here shortly.
And did you get either of their perspectives on what happened?
Yes, so it looks like Zeke got a little distracted watching another car to the side and hit the wall and ricocheted into Fife.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Fife is now pulled into the pits. He's definitely going to retire. As we now have the gaps. Rogue is 0.3 seconds behind Gore. I would not be surprised if Ruda letting Rogue pass was kind of team orders, considering how strong he's been on the pace compared to Ruda. So that might be. Oh, and it's actually a VSC. I did not notice that. My bad. Wonder when that started.
It started around the time that Fife and Zeke collided into.
Okay, yeah, if that was the incident responsible, then so be it. Is that... Are we back racing again? Looks like we might be, yep.
We are green.
And Rogue has really closed that gap to Gore. Went from about 9.9 seconds on the VSC restart to 0.2 now. And yeah, it looks like Rogue isn't using much of his energy through corners just to get himself that much further. He's definitely saving it for Belgium, because let's face it, Belgium is a fairly long track. It has like two not entirely straight sections, but flat out sections nonetheless. And it's fairly energy demanding, as yeah, it looks like Rogue is definitely going to be conserving as much as possible, especially with DRS now. As
Righteous goes around. He's clipped by Jordan.
Oh, yeah, and it does look like Righteous and Jordan are off, dropping, yeah, a lot of positions each, and it's interesting to, oh yeah, Righteous didn't go into the pits because he did not collect damage. He probably could have made it if he needed to. Doesn't look like either of them picked up damage from that excursion. Is now, the gap the gap between almost everyone in the top three, save for 4 and 5, who are both slightly out of DRS range but not that far. I think everyone is within at least slipstream, if not DRS. Keeping it fairly tight up for restart. That's not something we actually see that common, and I think Ruda is definitely going to be catching up to Rogue as him and Gore fight. That might be an opportunity for him to really conserve on tire usage, maybe not braking or racing as hard as he would if he needed to, and that will go a long way towards his long-term strategy. He can definitely try to get an overcut on his teammate, and if that works, then all the better. But we see mostly in the game that undercuts are fairly powerful.
Joining us in the booth right now, we have the first retiree of the session, Pfeiffer.
Hello, Pfeiffer.
Good evening, guys.
Could you tell me what happened?
Zeke was watching Van down the.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Oh my
goodness.
God, that was an amazing save by Ruda. He got on the curbs coming through Blanchimont, as I've seen him done a few times in practice, but he actually doesn't lose that much time, and that's a full safety car. That is a full safety car.
A massive incident in the midfield. Both Williams got involved with Jordan, who has retired from the session with terminal damage. Figlin with no front wing. There's an incident now.
Oh, Babu!
in the
Babushka was disqualified
pit
for
lane.
blocking the
Babushka's
pit
been
lane.
Oh no.
What is going on? My word.
We will have to see if that was a genuine... Yes, it was. That was a genuine penalty. That wasn't one of the fake ones. Wow. That is a calamity. I'm not sure who he blocked the pit lane from. That'll be interesting to look at. I can't wait to see. As it looks like Rogue actually, with the amazing call, I'm not sure how much time they had, but it definitely looked like he, as soon as the safety car came out, he came in and pit for mediums. He's going to struggle to make those last. I think they can, or no, they're just about on the cusp of making it to the end, I would say. But he definitely under safety car, he'll have, you know, some time to stretch out those tires like a lot. And I.
My. Who do you want to hear from?
Let's go. We'll start with Jordan, I think. Jordan would be great if you could ask Jordan what happened, ask Fig what happened, and then we could talk to Babu after.
Alright, I'll be back.
Yeah, and it looks like, oh wow, this has really played havoc for the top three. Sahil, Ruda, and Gore all staying out. They might have to pit this lap, because, yeah, the field's really caught up to them. Neither of them jumped for the pit when they had the chance. I guess it was a bit too late for Gore. Maybe Ruda too, especially considering his team went in, but I think a double stack would have been better than waiting for the grid to catch you up and then pitting. So the person who really got off strong here will be Rogue, Van, and Deez. Those guys are going to become your top three because those softs are not going to make it past a safety car restart. Sahil already at 35% on the rears, and the average between the two guys in the front, 35 on the rears, 26 elsewhere. As we go for another lap around with the safety car, I think. Yeah, and that is Babu out of the session, as Gore is gliding along behind, not using any energy or fuel as you should. Actually, interesting to know, Ruda picks up a 3-second penalty somewhere, so he's technically 3 seconds behind, and Gore stays out. That's interesting. Like those softs can last a bit longer, especially under safety car, but you can't make the gap work from that. I don't think you'll have really old tires against fresh tires, and trying to pull a gap, you're just gonna fall down the field until you're towards the rear and pit. So interesting to know those guys decide to pit. Actually, I misspoke earlier when I said Van and Deez were in good positions. They're on mediums, but they haven't pit. So of the Hood is the next guy who hasn't pit. That'll be really good for him, as well as Tack in 9th, but also on a fresh set of hards. And hards to the end is probably going to be the best bet, because you're going to be fighting with your mediums to make them last that long. Although, that being said, we know that, I know that Tack is fairly conservative with his tires. He doesn't want to chance bad tire wear for later in the stint, so he tends to go for the harder compounds when he thinks it's necessary. Yeah, it looks like Gore's gonna have maybe 3 laps at best in those softs, and those, you know, worn boots aren't as good, regardless of your pace difference, to the guys behind who are on fresh boots. Even if they are a bit harder, you're gonna struggle to set quicker times than them, and you know, when you don't, you're gonna regret not taking the chance to pit under safety car, even if the entire pack had reformed. Because at least you might be in the back, but or sorry, what was I saying? No, you definitely go to the back if you pit now. But before, when the pack wasn't fully reformed and he still had the opportunity to get maybe just a bit further down, that would have been ideal. He could have pit under safety car lap 2 after missing lap 1, and maybe been in about 11th position now. As he becomes the pace car, the safety car pulls off. He is the pace car for Sector 3 because the safety car is in this lap, so he is the one who's dictating the pace now, and everyone has to be behind him. You can see that sometimes people like to get a bit aggressive and really, like, you know, go side by side, try to nudge them along. Very, very aggressive. That would be very, very aggressive. I don't expect it to happen, especially considering what kind of turn bus stop is. He's definitely probably going to try to bring them to a standstill just before they get into bus stop, or sorry, as they're breaking into bus stop, and really send it. Which he has sent it now, but Ruda is fairly closely along there. And that was actually a really especially with that moment from Ruda, he's already a second ahead, definitely jumping before they thought they would jump. That was very, very good from him, and he's already put 1.2 seconds to Ruda, who's on identical tires, and now Rogue is back up into P3, getting past Sakil into turn 1, and Rogue will be coming for those positions. I think he's kind of unbeatable on this strategy at the moment, considering how close they are in pace. Really, it could have been either of them. My money was on Rogue, but Rogue with the advantage of a safety car, saving on the ERS on the straights, because he could just slipstream in behind his teammate who's, dragging him along. It's going to be great for him. This is going to be an absolute Sunday drive to the end.
All right, and we have our pit lane report from that incident that caused this. As I believe it looks like Krieg spins in Sector 2, excuse me. But the report there, it looks like Figlin kind of got out of shape and collided with Babushka. And while Figlin was stranded in the runoff, Jordan came by at full speed and collided with Figlin, and it was a terminal damage, had to retire.
Interesting. Do you know if Figlin... so Figlin was entirely off track at that point? Oh, actually Fig has a little bit of a moment. So does Gypsy, and Fig gets past Gypsy, recovering on a mistake through campus. Sorry, go ahead. Was Figlin moving, or was he on track at all?
From what it's sounding like, he was moving a little bit, and Jordan says he couldn't avoid it, and is understandably distraught. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get Babushka's view. He is no longer in voice. He left pretty quickly. So we'll have to see point of views later on after the race.
Figlin goes for a move on Zeke, but Zeke just gets the better drive on the outside, and gets back past Figlin. As now Ruda pits, and he goes to the back. So now Gore with a 2.4 second gap to Rogue. I would expect him to pit fairly soon, as it's a complete drag race between Zeke and Figlin as they come up Radion. And it looks like... Zeke is off!
There goes Zeke into the wall. Heavy shunt.
Wow, that was... wasn't easy to tell. It looks like there might have been a little tapping on the rear from a slow-going Figlin compared to Zeke's speed. But no way to tell from what I saw, unfortunately.
Sometimes you just get a little too much curb going up those two turns.
Yeah, and looks like Zeke's wing is completely missing. Like, every single bit of it. That is, really hard crash, reminiscent of Heinz Harald Frentzen and Jacques Villeneuve in 2001, destroying both of their cars immediately after another, trying to go flat out up a route. Looks like the field is fairly close. Ruda in P14, and quite a ways behind. I'm not sure how... Righteous losing a couple of positions there. Looks like there's a fairly close battle between, Well, that's a lot. That is, wow, too wide on multiple rows. That is quite insane. That's 6 cars battling for the same position. That's not something you see that often in F1, as the Toro Rosso gets dropped. Figlin completely punting Righteous entirely off circuit, and that is unfortunate for both of those guys. Fig taking fairly significant damage, as does Righteous, but Of the Hood is the one to pit now onto the fresh medium. From fresh mediums onto, I assume, more fresh medium. As Figlin gets past Gypsy again, and we're going to be looking for contact between these two as they come through Kemmel. Figlin is using all of his charge to get past here. Gentlemen, you're both going to be pitting this lap, so I'm not entirely sure how fruitful it is to fight this close. especially with damaged cars, because neither of them will have the performance they want to be able to take the turns as tight as they want, which is unfortunate. Actually, you know what? I say that Figlin's the only one with damage, from what I've seen, unless I was looking at somebody wrong entirely. No, yeah, okay, Figlin does have fairly significant damage. He's missing his right end plate. And Righteous is actually not missing anything. It's good for him. It makes sense. Figlin was the one to completely rear-end him and would destroy his wing, as now Chipsy is fairly close behind them after dropping a position or two. And it looks like, wow, Rogue is not actually putting a dent to Gore's time. He's just keeping it the same, and he's actually depleting a lot of his energy to try to catch up. I wonder why, considering he knows that, yeah, Gore is into the pits this lap now. He's going to be pitting, and he'll probably end up towards the back of the field, maybe in P13. I could actually check the detail to leader. Yeah, I'd call it P14 probably. Definitely going to end up there. Just actually behind Ruda, as he looks like he got held up in the pit lane, but that might have been an animation glitch, as the entire field really sails by him.
All right, I've got a little bit more details about the big incident that caused the safety car from Jordan.
Oh, good.
He says when Figlin was in the wall, he did not reverse. Borat tapped him, and that backed his car into my path.
Ah, how unfortunate. And it looks like that might be one of the first instances where the FIA will have to investigate, if the FIA will investigate, an instance of a teammate causing another teammate damage. Because, you know, you don't want to report your teammate, but also if it affects someone else's result or somebody else entirely, then you kind of do, it's going to get reported whether you want it or not, as Chipsy cannot get a move on Sahil to stick through the Lake Holmes braking, as Chipsy actually downshifts to third through the final turn 9 there, just to get that extra rotation around. Looks like Deez Girls has lost the position of Borat. Both those guys keep it fairly close. Deez is just that much far behind. And Deez actually has a bit of damage, and I think everyone is on the boots that take him to the end. And Van and Tack, oh my god. Van and Tack are up into P3 and 4 respectively. That is a very impressive showing from the Renault team. And that safety car will have really played havoc for Gore and Ruda. As actually, no. Gore is fighting his way up fairly quickly through the field. He's already into P6, dropping Ruda behind. Didn't actually manage to see where he got out, but I would assume it wasn't that close by. And as he
D spins.
Oh my! Borat has a bit of a tangle with.
Go on the inside of Gore.
Sorry, Borat has a bit of a tangle with Van, and Gore completely takes advantage of it. Borat really pushed Van out to the side, and Gore didn't need a second invitation. He just sent it and took it up through the start-finish. As I think Gore backs off just a bit, knowing that Borat is on harder, older tires and is going to be a bit slow. Hopefully they can not make contact as they come through the straight now. Beautiful angle from, ooh, yeah, Borat slots in behind Gore, and that is Gore up into P4. And that is, you know, he will have fresher tires, but the gap to him, the gap from P1, the gap from Rogue to Gore is 14 seconds. I'm not sure if 6-lap-old tires make that big of a difference, and that's going to be really, really unfortunate for him. Alright, as Borat looks to be going for a move on Tack as Gore gets by him. That's actually, I think this might be one of Kubelay's best finishes. I know, you know, he always talks about, you know, being quick, and he has the capacity to win races, but unfortunately, things just haven't played well for him recently. So he's been fairly far down the field from getting taken out, or you know, getting collisions, bad strategy calls, stuff like that. He hasn't really been able to showcase his pace, and right now, he's showing that he can, you know, put himself above the best of the rest, or put himself to be the best of the rest. You know, into P2, taking advantage of a strategy failing from Gore and Ruda. And it looks like he's actually entirely out of energy now. He's using he's on 3% and he's using mode 4. That's going to be a big fat 0 if he can't get it under control by the braking zone. Yeah, there it was, 0%. As Van now takes 3 seconds of penalties, and Tak gets past Borat again, down Camel. Van losing a position to Nile. Nile fighting for it, and not... Ooh, Nile's actually ghosting a bit. And Van does have some wing damage. I'm not sure if that was the same as before, or if he might have accrued a bit more as... Ooh, Tak goes a bit wide out of Bruxelles and can't... loses a chunk of time to Borat, who's 0.4 seconds behind, as... Looks like Gore is, yeah, definitely decreasing that gap to Kubelay now. Looks to be a battle for 4th position between Tak and Borat. I think the way things are looking now, 10 laps is a lot of time for stuff to happen, but I can definitely see everyone making it to the end on their tires. Nobody has particularly bad wear from what I've seen. Rogue is actually, Rogue and Kubelay have about what do I expect. They have 8 lap old tires, 25% wear-ish. They're going to be fine to the end. Gore's heading in the fastest lap. He's going to have to really push and burn off his rubber to really punch in the gap that he needs, as he decreases almost a tenth of a second in the last 2 sectors alone. But yeah, I think the top 3 are fairly solidified at the moment. It's, their race to run away with, really, as Gore keeps putting in that distance attack as well. I think the battle for 4th position will be really interesting, and a battle for 6th position will be as well, because Ruda is about to pass Van now, and he'll be fighting with Nile for 6th position, and I don't know if he would be able to catch up for 4th. As Borat gets past attack coming through Camel. I think that's going to be a fairly common pattern we see. One person's going to hold the position for a lap or 2, and then the other person's going to spend that lap or 2 recovering energy and get by on DRS again, unless one of them can put enough of a dent to actually get over a second in front and keep it there.
And very briefly, we just saw Kriegs go into the wall and lose most of his wing. He is in the pits now, and I also have more details about Babushka's disqualification. Turns out he made a mistake entering pit lane and was a bit sideways, and before he had a chance to correct himself, the game disqualified. He's finding that a little unfair and is understandably very upset.
He has wished not death, but Legos, stepping on Legos upon the people like Codemaster. I cannot think of a worse curse.
Neither can I.
And Borean, if you were racing, you would know what happened. There was a safety car. He made the wrong call, didn't come in at the right time, and dropped positions. But he is making up time considerably to Kubelay. I know Gore can definitely challenge for that position. I don't think his tires will fall off that drastically. If anything, it's Kubelay's who are just going to get worse and worse and worse at maintaining that gap. But I don't think that Gore has the pace to get up to Rogue. So Rogue's got to make a mistake or accrue a lot of penalties to really to get screwed here for position. I think this is a fairly secure win from him. As Tak is just outside of DRS range from Borat. Borat's gonna be... Wow, Borat is actually out of energy, so he's not even... Yeah, Tak has gained 4/10 on Borat alone from that straight, just by using mode 4 on his ERS, and now he's saving through the corners, really managing that. Attack knows exactly where it's important to save, and Borat is just playing with fire by having low energy and needing to save on the straights. As Sahil picks up at a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings.
A fantastic battle between Ruda and Nile here. They've been swapping positions for the last lap and a half.
It'll be interesting to see whether Ruda can claw back this 3-second gap. You know, I was saying earlier, I wasn't sure. I think he definitely can. I just, his newer, softer rubber is really going to put him right up there with Tack. I think 4th position could easily be Ruta's, which is, you know, a bit of a recovery drive. Wouldn't be as good as Gore if he got P2. Speaking of, has decreased Cubile to another 7/10, just about.
Sahil losing a number of positions after a brief spin. Looks like he has some wing damage.
As Van Beets goes to pit from 13 lap old medium. They are at the end of their lifespan. But I'm not sure whether that's just him poorly managing his tires. Rogue has had these for 10 laps. He could easily go another 10 laps. He could definitely make it to the end on these. Cubile might struggle a bit more. No, they have similar wear. I think they'll be fine. And then Gore, of course, could absolutely easily make it to the end. But people who can't, like Dees. Dees is 42% on his rears after 14 laps. I'm not entirely sure these can make it to the end. He probably will have to try to take them, but that's just indication that he's has too much rear spin on his tires. He's just spinning the rears too much on corner exits, which is unfortunate for him. But that's, you know, pretty asymmetric wear. His score is now within 2.8 seconds of Cubile. That's another second and a half, just about. And it looks like Tack is now 1.5 seconds back on Borat, and he's going to be, for some reason, dropping pace a lot to from Borat to Ruta. Now it looks like, yeah, Borat is still using a lot of his energy to really try to push himself away from Tack. I imagine it's only a matter of time before he's run too low to run on the straights for the full thing, and that's when Tack could easily chuck it into 4 and you know, get back that 1.5 seconds to something where he could pass the next lap or even the next straight. And Tack actually being a bit conservative on the straight there, and he's already caught up 4/10. So looks like he's doing something, maybe with fuel or something, but can't really. This Ruta is now within 2.4. Ooh, but Ruta locks coming into the into Bruxelles. He's overheating his tires, keeping them fairly warm as compared to, you know, Tack has them at around. Yeah, so Tack is peaking at 111, 113 there, and Ruta is up into the 120s peak there. So he's gonna need to cool the tires. He's really trying to drive this car, and, you know, braking late, sliding a bit, and we actually saw you know, him slide around a bit earlier. So he obviously has been struggling with tire temp issues for the better part of the race. Now Gore is within the striking range of Cubile. I think the move will be made this lap. As Gore sets the fastest lap, actually, 1:46.9. Doubt that'll be beaten by anyone. Although Van is onto the softs, this is Sahil and Krieg. Sahil might be able to take it, but I don't think Van or Krieg really have the ability, considering that Van races on auto ERS. I'm not sure that the computer brain will know what to do on the straights. So it looks like Gore's really saving energy here and keeping his distance behind Cubile. Yeah, one of the advantages of the DRS in this game is because it is fairly powerful. You can not use your battery as much, and so you can save a lot of charge for when you need to push outside of slipstream and DRS windows. You know, just like after you pass somebody in a DRS zone, you want a lot of battery left so you can, you know, push it and get a second on them by the next DRS zone so they can't just pass you back by. Looks like Cubelay's actually been saving fairly heavily. He's up to 63%, as is Gore actually, both on 63 and still saving. But Gore, of course, is behind. It'll be foolish for Gore to, pass before this turn. Because he needs the DRS, as actually Cubelay goes to... No, I thought Cubelay was going to pit, but he just gets out of the way. I think he realized that he couldn't actually defend that position for another 4 laps. I don't think he had faith in his tires to keep being able to battle Gore. And so to give Gore the position then gives him the best chance to repass him on the Kemmel straight here. And, you know, at least keep in range to go for a last lap move. As Rogue has rejoined the session, apparently. His AI has been driving. Not sure what that's about. Kriegs has left the session now. Not sure what that is about.
Yeah. Yes, Rogue briefly disconnected from the session. I was going to mention it, but he seems to have reconnected just in time. I will go figure out what's going on with...
Sure. It looks like, Cubelay is still behind Gore some ways. Within DRS range though, gets a bit wide there, and looks like his front tire temps are struggling just a bit. I wonder what he peaks at here. Not as bad as Rudo's 120, but he still is peaking quite a bit. As looks like Niall might go for a move on Righteous. Sorry, have to check. Oh yeah, peaking over 120. Rudo's still having tire management issues. He could just and he picks up a 3-second penalty too. That means he has 6 seconds at least. Zeke picks up 3 seconds. Kriegs is back. All good news to hear, as Niall, I think, is the only one within a slipstream position, and that's a Righteous Fire. And they're both on older tires, but not too bad. Still able to fight, of course, and looks like Niall's picking the outer rim of his, the front left tire. He's getting about 120, which is when you start accruing heat and not being able to get rid of it, really, is that kind of threshold. So you really need to calm down at that point, as he takes a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. That is fairly, wow. That was not that bad, and he also still doesn't keep the position. But that's 5 seconds for something that might have been just a warning, considering how much time he didn't gain. As Babushka, yes, that is not correct for the game to have issued that. I guess Toro Rosso's at war with Codemasters or something. As Cubelay, still within range of Gore, still struggling with his tire temperatures. Yeah, you can see that they're cascading, they're getting really high, and he won't be able to regulate them in the coming lap. I wouldn't be surprised if he's now peaked up to 120. On the rears, on the right hand side, yeah, he has. So he's definitely not going to be able to keep within Gore, considering he also has penalties. Gore doesn't, and Rogue doesn't. Gore, 3 laps. I don't think he could take 4.6 seconds, unfortunately. The tires are only 5 laps better, and he's already bleeding so much energy trying to get this gap to Cubelay set up. I really don't think he'll be able to go for it. So that is a fairly good victory from Rogue, unless he, squanders maybe 2 corner cutting penalties or something. Maybe he can pull a Niall. As looks like Rudo's going for a move on. Oh no, that's just Kriegs' ghost car. I'm not sure why Kriegs isn't moving out of the way. He should be yielding to Rudo, which I think he just did. Nope. Not sure what that was, but that was interesting enough. Oh, Rudo! We were talking about tire temperatures and sliding. He gets bent out of shape on the exit of bus stop. Easily could have been in the wall from him, and that would have been a real bad news for his campaign. But yeah.
So a brief report on Kriegs, his game crashed, so that's why he had disconnected at that.
looks like Tech is a bit out of shape there. Let's Ruda have some time. Even if Ruda, though, does get the move done on Tech has no penalties. Not only that, but yeah, if I was Ruda, I would tell him to absolutely cool those. He has 6 seconds to Righteous. I know Righteous has 3 seconds, so he has 3 seconds to Righteous. Net penalties and everything. He's not gonna win against Tack. He will not get that position. He needs to relent a bit and just try not to get by, because he's really destroying his tires. And the harder your tires are, the easier it is to slide. The easier it is to slide. The more you slide, and the more you slide into a wall and DNF on the last lap. And then that would, I'd have to go dig out the audio file of Lando Norris yelling, "It's broken," as he crosses the line 2 laps from the end. As Gypsy picks up 3 seconds. I cannot stress...
It would be appropriate.
Yeah.
This was the track that it happened.
Yeah. I cannot stress this enough to drivers. If you're behind on penalties, don't try anything stupid. It's too much of a risk. And, Ruda really should, even if he is naturally being able to keep up with Tack, even while being conservative, it's not working. He's still really overheated on his tires, and he's still dropping. He just needs to take it easy, not get on the throttle as soon. You don't need to push for that much time, especially when it's not going to get you anything but more chances to put in the wall. It's kind of boring, but you have to drive it easy sometimes. I'm sure Rogue kind of realizes he has this in the bag, but they're both struggling with tire issues because they're both Rogue and Gore both have old tires. As Ruda's trying for a move on Tack. I can't say that's smart, but as they come into Bruxelles now, Ruda's on the inside line and locks completely, forces Tack wide. Tack rejoining the circuit behind Ruda. I don't think... Yeah, I couldn't see entirely what happened, but if that's... if Tack decides to report that, and the FIA decides that that's a penalty, that's a completely unnecessary penalty, because Ruda is not about to put on 6 seconds to Tack in 1 lap alone. There's really no point to do that. And if anything, he's just gotten himself a free extra 5 seconds of penalties. That's you gotta question the drivers who don't really know when it's time to relax a bit and bring in the car, bring it home, rather than not only lose his position to Tack, but now there's a chance he might lose it to Righteous or even Nile. It's tough. I mean, he's already a second and a bit ahead of Tack, but he has 1 lap to change that. And as we come into the final lap, I think Rogue has had a fantastic race. Really played the safety car really well. That was driving on instinct, essentially, and he's been able to take these tires home to the end, which was, not terribly impressive. 50% is 50%. But a few other drivers have taken. Only one other driver actually has taken the softs that long, and that's Cubele, or sorry, the mediums that long, and that's Cubele. And they are both, doing pretty okay. I do want to see what they're. I think I'd have to say driver of the day to me. I don't know. I can't tell. I would love to say it's Borat, but I'm just not sure, considering the collision he had earlier. Apparently he tapped somebody else into someone. He did get 10 positions and he has driven fairly well, but he's, I think it'll probably be the Rogue for bringing those boots home as long as they could. He also won. I mean, he was P3 or P2, one of them, and he drove well. He's across the line now, going to salute the. I was gonna say the crowd of the pit lane, but he's just really in the middle. As Gore actually wins? What?
What on earth?
What just happened? The scandal!
I saw that too.
The scandal as Gore rips this win from the jaws of defeat. That is some Cody's malarkey, if we've ever seen it. That is... wow. I cannot wait to hear what either of them have to say Um, I'm not sure. You know what? We're not even done. But wow, I think we have to immediately go. We have we have to immediately come into the interviews room. That is actually, you know what? I do have to show. I do have to show the incidents. And watch as the rest of the line comes across the rest of the field comes across the line. Fig comes in 10th, of the Hood in 9th, Nile in 8th, fairly good from him. Righteous 7th, not as high as he would like to be. Ruda obviously in 6th position. Tak and Borat 4 and 5, very very good from him. Kubele P3, good drive from him as well. Rogue fairly good. Now Gore, what the hell happened here? That is the question on everyone's mind, and we want to find out because wow, I wonder if that will stick. This is now the third week in a row that what will look to be the proper end of the race just disappeared. That was wow.
Wow.
Yeah, usually I think last time it happened, in Silverstone it was like the people out at the points and one of them got a penalty anyway. Then it happened the next week in Germany and it was like, oh, okay, they got a penalty, it doesn't matter. But now this is fairly ridiculous. If neither of them pick up penalties, what are we gonna do? Like, did Gore deserve that win? Did he get the win on his screen? What happened?
It looks like both McLaren boys are in the Ferrari radio. I'm gonna try to be a fly in the wall.
Actually, could you bring Gore, I guess, in here for his winners interview and ask Rogue to join him as well? All right, onto the interview stage. What the heck? I am shocked. That was ridiculous. That was wow. Have you talked to them?
Yeah, so we can talk to them more if we pull them in for interviews. But according to Rogue, his game froze.
All right, hold on.
And when
we're gonna bring them in here.
Came back.
Hello, gentlemen. The question on everyone's mind. Fantastic race from both of you. What exactly just happened?
Well, I had started with the safety car came out, and I was already across the line, so he got to pit, and I had to spend the lap behind the safety car, so that put me 30 seconds behind him for no reason. Then at the end, I think you lagged out, right, Rogue? Like 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and then the deltas got all messed up, and that's why I was 4 seconds behind on track, even though in the game.
You said your
realistically,
game froze.
No, I'm getting to it. So there's a problem in the game whenever someone lags out, your delta can get messed up in the game. When realistically, it's not like that. Entire last 5 laps after I came back, it said you were within the 2/10 of me for the entire time. And then on the final corner, my game froze for about 3 seconds. When it unfroze, I didn't move, and Gore got ahead of me somehow. So I'm appealing that because I won that race. So,
Gore, do you?
Well, the game breaketh and taketh away. So it threw away my win and gave it to him, and then threw away his win and gave it to me. I don't know. So I have no idea. I mean, if on his screen he passed the line in front of me, it's his win. But if I pass the line in front of him, then I don't know. FIA can decide, but I obviously biased. So.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to ask about the safety car. Specifically, we noticed that when it came out, Rogue, you were the only one to pit. And it looks like Ruda was looking to pit, but he didn't. Did you guys want to avoid the double stack? Did you know it would put him so far down the field?
He was talking about it. He was worried about it, but at that point, I mean, it was right then and there. I just went for it. I didn't think second of it, and so I went to the pits before it was too late.
I mean, I would have too. It's definitely the strategy.
And you didn't want to, Gore, you didn't want to chance it by turning around, did you?
No, I did not.
Because we've seen how that works.
Yeah, not very well.
Right. So, that'll be interesting to see. about which one of you wins. Good luck to both of you. But I think if you watch the stream, it'll be fairly interesting to see what it looked like for our point of view.
Yeah. Were the deltas messed up for you guys
The
too?
deltas were messed up at the start, but it looked like as Rogue was rounding the final corner, he stopped for a second, and then like you magically had won.
Yeah, and that was my game freezing for about 3 seconds.
Well, to us, Gore teleported and crossed the line first.
Nice.
So
Solid.
it'll be interesting to see what it looks like from your point of views compared to ours. But thank you both for joining us. Rogue, you are our driver of the day. You took those mediums a very long way, and it must have been difficult to keep the tire temps in control. And that was a very commanding lead from you until you lost it. Yeah, you did biff it. The safety car play was fantastic. You must have reacted like immediately to get in. It's a very, very good job from you.
Thanks.
All right, and that was it. So thank you guys for joining us. I don't think we have time for any other interviews for today. And you know what? Join our Discord and stick around to see all the shenanigans that happen around that. Of course, we will update you for the next race. Just give you a little blurb about what the decisions were from that race, especially regarding this, because it does have a fairly big impact on the championship standings. I have been Kia, and I was joined with Sin Black Fox for tonight.
Have a good night.